Alright, this is going to be my submission of Kidnapped Any Percent to AGDQ 2022. This is a pretty short and silly indie horror game with a lot of major glitches and skips. So we're just going to get started. There's a little bit of an intro cutscene at the beginning, and time starts when we hit this button right here.
Let me tell you a
And these
story.
narrations are pretty funny, so I'm going to let them play out for the most part.
There are many stories of people who vanish in the dead of night, never to be heard of again. This is such a story, but perhaps the most important. For this is said to be the truth of them all. And to find the truth, one needs to listen. Here is the story.
Alright, so our main path through the game is going to be getting to the end of each level as quickly as possible. There's 5 levels, and there's an end level trigger in 4 of them, the first 4. So our goal is just going to be to get to the end as fast as possible. The 5th level is pretty much the same, but we'll get to that when we get there. This first level has props that we can prop fly with, so we're going to be using that to clip through the ceiling and fly all the way to the end. And that will be right after another short little narration and our character getting up
awoke
here.
to the pitter-patter sound of rain on a roof above. His head banged as if a drum resided inside. Finding the strength to raise his feet, he noticed the scattering of blood around the room. He found it hard to breathe as a rancid smell rushed his nostrils. He knew not of where he was, but he knew he needed to escape.
So we just gained a massive amount of height here, and we should be still falling down. Wow, we really gained a lot of height. There we go. Okay. Here we go. We should be fine now. Depending on the angle you get, sometimes it sends you really, really high up in the air. Ideally, not this much. There we go. Okay. That can happen though sometimes. But it's really jank, honestly. It really just depends on the angle you float the bottle at. But there you go. That's chapter 1.
One of fabrication, a horror tale created to scare children on grim, dark nights around a campfire. A story so extraordinary that it could never possibly be real. Sometimes, however, the truth can often be the extraordinary.
Yeah, the bottle can be a little hard to control because of the amount of speed that it gives you there, so sometimes you have to wait to fall a little bit. It is also possible to flip it sideways and go sideways a bit, but that's also like very hard to do.
Confused, Sebastian stood once more and made his way into the depths of the caves.
So we're going to be doing a crouch clip into this piece of collision here to get out of bounds to the ceiling. Nice, that was good. I'm gonna do a safety save here because this jump is a bit, that's why. This jump is a bit difficult. So we have to swing far enough right and then left, there we go. It's a bit tricky because we need to be far enough left at the end of the jump, but if we go too far left at the beginning, we get blocked by a wall. Alright, now we're going to be attempting something called a super bounce, which you'll see why in just a second. Just going to do a little bit of a setup here. Alright, let's try that again. There we go, nice. Alright, so for whatever reason, when running into certain pieces of collision at a certain angle, the game will just launch you up into the air. We have no idea why, why this happens. But it's useful for skipping a short little section there. It's also known as gun skip, because normally you have to run over and grab a gun, and when you come back, some boulders are gone, and this just lets us clear them a little faster. We used to do another crouch clip there, but the super bounce is about a second or two faster if you get it first try. Alright, so here's some enemies. We don't have a gun, so we can't actually attack them, but it's not really a big deal. They do 10 damage, and we have 100 health. So, okay, this is actually pretty good so far. We actually want them to damage boost us. Although, well, actually, they might kill me here. Okay, save. It's funny because a lot of runs you don't get any enemies and they get no damage boost. Yeah, I'm gonna die. Okay. That can happen. Which is kind of funny because, like I said, most runs I don't get any enemies. And I'm thinking, ah, man, you know, it would have been nice to get some damage boost, but oh well. And this time we just got absolutely ruled by them, but that's okay. It honestly might have even been faster just because they hit us so many times. So since we got hit, I'm gonna grab this first aid kit. Just in case, because there's an enemy in the next level that can one-shot us sometimes. The damage is very inconsistent on this enemy, so we'll see.
Believing the dangers of the underground caves, but they would be wrong. for you see, his energy was quickly depleting, and had to find aid quickly. Mustering the little energy he had left, he pushed onward.
Oh, I haven't been splitting. There we go. That doesn't really matter.
Standing at the edge of a dark forest, Sebastian drew a deep breath of fresh air. A magnificent moon shone brightly upon him. Echoes of birds and other wildlife could be heard in the distance. Plucking up courage and energy to venture on, Sebastian took his first step.
So that enemy I mentioned is a bear coming up here, and we could attempt a trick called Bear Boost. I didn't actually save my health, so we're back at 20, so we actually will not be attempting Bear Boost, because we will definitely die in one shot. Sometimes he doesn't do very much damage, though, and sometimes he does a lot. I'm just going to take a little bit of a left around here, just so he doesn't hit us. There we go. One other thing to note as we're walking through this forest here is that there's a weird thing that happens with the sprint mechanic, which is if you sprint for too long, you just go back to normal speed. The sprint just ends. So to keep the speed going as much as possible, we have to either retap the sprint button or jump, and that will reset our sprint speed. So we're getting over towards the end of the level over here. So normally the goal here is to get a bunch of animal skins and perform some sort of sacrifice. I'm not exactly sure what it looks like because this is sort of the only level in the game I have not beaten glitchless, just because I got lost and sometimes the enemies or the animals despawn. I don't know. Anyway, that's slow. So instead, we're going to be climbing some invisible walls over here on this cliffside, like this. And then we're going to be mashing jump and crouch to clip through this wall, like so. And then jumping down here, we can get to level 4.
Sebastian was finally
Split,
free
not that it
from
really
the
matters.
forest. The surrounding trees that were masked with darkness seemed to tear at his soul. But now, free of its clutches, he pressed onward, wondering what lay ahead.
If you're wondering what the story of this game is, I am too. I have no idea. Anyway, we're going to crouch under this invisible wall right here. Now we're out of bounds. Head over to the left, out of bounds here.
Was this the safety that he desired? With a rush of adrenaline sweeping through his body, he ventured forth towards the church.
So there used to be several different versions of this skip here. We just have to get past a gate and then into this box, essentially. And we used to do a super bounce after climbing the church to get in here. Then it was found that you could just climb some collision out of bounds and do a pretty hard jump to get on the other side over there. And then it turns out you can just clip into here. So now we're just at the end of the level. This is like way faster than any of those other two methods, by the way. And it's also the most consistent and easiest, so kind of worked out.
Almost at its close. But from one last section. For you see, this is the section of the tale where a legend was born. A legend of myth and horror. And one that has spawned many tales over the decades. This is how it goes.
So we're going to be holding sprint here and forward because even though we can't see, we actually do have control of our character. So I'm going to open this door and hold forward and left a little bit, and if we do this movement right, we should be able to get through both doors. Nice, before the light comes back on. So now we're going to climb on these things, mash crouch and jump, and there we go. And if we do that in the right spot, at the right rhythm, we can clip through the ceiling. Now, normally you're supposed to go through these rooms and either just wait around for them to open, some spooky sounds play and things like that, or you do some puzzles. Instead, we're just gonna make a beeline straight to the end. And a little fun fact, if you look off to the right here in just a few seconds, you'll see another room. We're not really sure what that is. No one's ever gotten over there. I don't know if it's a debug room or just a room for testing, if the level's supposed to be bigger at some point. I have no idea. You could maybe get over there with a super bounce, or maybe like cheat engine or something. I don't know. Anyway, last little trick here. We're going to crouch, save the game, reload. And the reason this clips us to the floor is that when you crouch in this game, it just moves your entire model down, including your feet. So when you save your position there, it actually saves it under the floor since your feet clip through. And then if you reload, you're just standing up in that spot, which then puts you through. Okay, don't grab the gun too early or the game soft locks. And then time ends, we kill this guy right there. Oh, forgot to split again. Anyway, there's Kidnapped. Like I said, pretty short and silly, but pretty cool speedrun.
And has left an
some cool glitches.
In the hearts and souls of its residents. More so upon his family. For many years,
I still don't know
countless
exactly
people
what the
have
story
tried
was supposed to
searching
be for this game,
evidence of Sebastian's
but
whereabouts,
I enjoyed it
all
either way.
turning up empty-handed. Sebastian,
But either way,
however,
thank you for watching, and hope
for
you enjoyed the
now,
run.
a darker entity lives, an entity that resides in the corner of darkness, waiting for light of day to fade, so it can strike upon its victim.
There you
And I
go.
pray
Oh,
it is not you.
there we go. Okay, that's Kidnapped. Thanks for watching.